Hello, this is Encounters with Life. I'm Sean Abigail, your host. Well, Mark Carney has had a bad week. And quite frankly, why wouldn't he have a bad week? He's now doing the job of a regular politician, and it's something that he has no experience with. So let's look at something from Cole Hogan. He said, if his cabinet's first week is any indication, Mark Carney is running headfirst into a Laurentian apparatus that isn't inclined to change a thing. And why would the Laurentian elite change anything? It's worked so well for them in the past. If you had the hopes that Mark Carney would do something different, he wouldn't just be a different face on the same old machine, that he would do something different, you're going to be very much disappointed. Mark Carney does not have a chance of changing anything. The Laurentian elite, the big red machine, likes what it's doing. It's good at it. It will continue to do it and will continue to deliver the same results. Well, let's talk about the budget that won't be, that might be, that will be delayed. So originally, Mark Carney said there will be no budget this year. No need for a budget. Like, why would you have a budget? Having a budget is so old school. Well, he took a lot of flack over this. Here's one comment from a fellow by the name of Rod Vanier. He said, "You want Canada to publish its battle plans in the middle of a trade war? You serious?" Well, Yuan Yi Zhu said, Canada published budgets in both world wars. Quite a very apt kind of thing. And if you are on Twitter, I suggest you follow Yuan. He always has some good things to say. So Mark Carney changed his tune. He says, yes, a budget is coming, but it will be coming in the fall. We don't need one now. There isn't enough time to prepare a budget before they go into summer recess. Like, Parliament hasn't been sitting for a long time, but there's not enough time to prepare a budget, so there'll be one in the fall. Just keep on doing what we've been doing, keep on doing what we were doing under Justin Trudeau, keep on just spending money by decree and not have a parliament that's actually challenging the government on its budget. So that's Mark Carney's big plan. Well, it's not just the budget, it's also about the pipelines. And here we see Dominique LeBlanc, so one of Carney's right-hand men, saying, well, when we talked about energy corridors across Canada, you didn't think we were talking about pipelines, did you? Well, of course, everyone thought that this was an allusion to pipelines and maybe the Liberals were going to allow pipelines. Now that they won the election, it's like, no pipelines. Very, very clear. They will not have pipelines. It doesn't matter what it does to national unity. It doesn't matter what message it sends to Alberta. They are not interested in pipelines. Then here's something Brad Zubik said. So in the very first week, we find out that the Carney government won't build pipelines, I just mentioned. Bail reform won't happen. Anti-Semitism is still cool with the Liberals. Anita Anand made that very clear. And elbows up really meant that retaliatory tariffs were off. I was actually willing to give the guy a chance. Quite frankly, I know I'm a partisan. I admit it. I was not willing to give Mark Carney much of a chance. But, I said, okay, maybe he'll be different. But he hasn't been. Then we see Mark Carney taking out his big pen and signing that big folder, and Mark Carney, and he signs it just like Americans do executive orders, except Canada doesn't have that concept. I think Mark Carney he got it into his head that he should be doing the same kind of thing that Trump is doing, signing executive orders, even if we don't have them. And he wanted the image, like, yes, I am prioritizing the middle class tax cut, and I'm going to put it on a piece of paper and sign it. Wow, that's really impressive, Mark, except you don't know how our system works. You don't produce orders in council. Canadian prime ministers don't sign executive orders, and this is just a little bit of theater that you're putting on for the peasants. All right. David Jacobs has pointed out it's been 151, well, now a couple more days since then, 151 days since Canada's Parliament was last in session. It's an affront to our democracy. So I believe that the Canadian parliamentary democracy system is the best system of government in the world. And apologies to my American friends. I understand your system. I understand that it puts an emphasis on checks and balances, a concept that's not as strong in the Canadian system. But the parliamentary system has been around for a very long time, and it has worked in many, many countries. But that assumes that your parliament is actually going to be sitting. That assumes that there's going to be an opposition there that's going to be challenging the government and kicking up a fuss if the government is doing things it shouldn't be doing. What the Liberal government has been doing, proroguing Parliament, then we, of course, didn't have Parliament during the election, and we don't have Parliament now. What the Liberal government has been doing is ruling by decree. And that's a lot more fun because you can just do whatever you want, and you don't have to worry about what the peasants in the opposition have to say to you. Well, I have to say, I think that that's wrong. In a little while, I'm taking a trip over to the United Kingdom. I might get a chance to see the Mother of Parliaments, Westminster itself. We'll see. But I am thoroughly disgusted at what Canada has become in not having our Parliament sitting. This is huge. This is important. Canadians, it's time to wake up and demand that Parliament sit. If necessary, sit right through the summer. No need for a summer break. You've had your break already. We want to see Canadian politicians working for Canada. Well, that's what I think. What do you think? I'd love to hear your comments. I'd love to have you subscribe to this channel. If you think that there's some content here that interests you, please do subscribe. I'm Sean Abigail. That's Encounters with Life.